I'm here today at The Legend of Zelda Symphony of the Goddesses Master Quest. I don't really have an opening for this week's video, so this is gonna be the opening here. As you can see, it's fucking packed. So, it's gonna be a fucking sweet show. Same with this week's episode, I hope you like it. Hey y'all, it's me, Sol. I have only one rule here. If it's animated, I'll comment on it. And you'll have to forgive me. I've been stuck in this state for just about a week now. And I gotta say, it has been hell trying to live my life like this. I mean, all my fried foods have been soggy, and I tell you, it was hell trying to watch Symphony of the Goddesses while crying like this. But, you know, that's what I get for watching this movie. Hotaru no Haka. Now, we're gonna take a look into Sol's history book here, but first, I got to stop crying. Like, somebody jump out a window or something. Alright, that's better now. Okay, yeah, nothing like defenestration to give you a good chuckle, right? Okay, so let's take a look here. Let's see. Grave of the Fireflies. Here we go. Okay. So, Hotaru no Haka, also known as Grave of the Fireflies in the English translated version, was originally a semi-autobiographical novel written in 1967 by Akifumi no Saka. The animated adaptation was created by Studio Ghibli and was released in Japan in 1988 by Toho. It was originally shown in theaters as a double feature with My Neighbor Totoro, and it was marketed for young children and families. I bet whoever made that decision probably didn't have a job by the end of the day. Anyway, while Hotaru no Haka failed in Japan commercially, it was absolutely adored by critics when it came out in North America in 1993, when it was released by Central Park Media. Okay, well, now that I've given my tear ducts a bit of a rest, let's take a nice, not teary-eyed look into this movie, Hotaru no Haka. Hotaru no Haka's story takes place near the end of the Second World War in Kobe, Japan, and follows the final months of two children, Seita and Setsuko, who become orphaned after an air raid from the American soldiers kills their mother and destroys their home. The two try to live happily together and stave off starvation and sickness as the war comes to a close, while Seita ensures the safety and happiness of Setsuko, even to the point of resorting to lies and theft. The plot of this movie is absolutely magnificent. World War II is definitely a hot-button topic for a movie to cover, and it's very difficult to pull off the content properly without offending anyone. And holy balls and macaroni, this is a fantastic portrayal of wartime drama. I'll admit that I'm not particularly knowledgeable about the Japanese side of the conflict, but I don't feel like that's necessary to enjoy this movie's plot. If anything, the most important thing to be knowledgeable about to watch this movie is just basic human emotion. And these characters, oh my god, these characters. Just, goddamn man, these characters. Seita is a young man who aspires to be a soldier for the Japanese army to follow in the footsteps of his father, who serves in the Navy. After his house gets destroyed during an air raid, Seita struggles to make a living for himself and his 4-year-old sister Setsuko. Seita is such a strong character, but I don't mean that in a traditional strong character way. Is he powerful? Nope. Is he a genius? Nope. Is he anything but a normal boy fighting to live during wartime? Absolutely not. And that's what makes him fantastic. He's just a kid, trying to be an adult, but having the reality of the situation that he, his sister, and his country are facing close in on him from all sides. And sometimes he handles it well, sometimes he doesn't. But his methods of dealing with all the misfortune and misery that befalls him are what make him such an amazing character. Seita tries so hard to be happy for his sister, even though he has every reason to break down in a sobbing mess. And that fact just makes me want to break down in a sobbing mess instead. Setsuko, on the other hand, is a warm, sweet, playful, but somewhat selfish young girl who acts very much like a real 4-year-old would in her situation. She's constantly being lied to so that she won't be sad, and she tries to remain the same even after she starts to succumb to her meager lifestyle. Now, normally I'm not a fan of young children in animation because I generally find them extremely annoying. But Setsuko is hands down my all-time favorite young girl ever in the history of ever. She's not a perfectly well-behaved child, even considering all the sacrifices that she and the people around her have to make due to the wartime strain on resources. But you wouldn't expect her to be well-behaved. Human nature says that children at that age are somewhat bratty and selfish, no matter what situation they're in, and oh god, is Setsuko perfectly portrayed. And oh god, her slow deterioration is just so painful to watch. And quick, cut to something else. Now you could totally stack the good things in this movie higher than the Tower of Babel, but I'll just go through the things that stood out for me the most. And the number one thing in this movie is Seita and Setsuko's relationship. They have seriously got one of the best sibling relationships I've ever seen, and it's so heartbreaking to see these two try to support one another in the face of all their adversity. Watching them be happy together is almost more heartrending than watching them suffer, because the connection they share is so deep and so genuine that it just makes it all the more horrible when you know that neither of them will live in the end. Their relationship is as sublime as it is sorrowful, and you can just tell that they both desperately need one another. Also, this movie is so beautifully animated. I mean, no, obviously, if you compare it to today's animation standards, it's not perfect, but it creates such an intense and uncomfortable, yet also soft and serene atmosphere that puts you right into the heart of wartime Japan, and will most definitely have your heart ducking for cover. Again, like Paranorman, this is another movie where there's technically no bad guy. While one could argue that the bad guys are the American soldiers bombing the crap out of the Japanese people, that's more a historical argument, and not really a matter to discuss in this review. I would argue that the bad guy in this movie is mostly just Seita and Setsuko's mortality, which constantly keeps them from enjoying life the way they'd like to. Now, I think it goes without saying at this point that this movie is depressing as fuck. It has a reputation of being an intense tearjerker, and it absolutely deserves that reputation. The frank depictions of human suffering, war-related atrocities, desperation about conserving resources, and struggling with a lack of food and proper care and shelter may be far too intense for some people. If you do choose to view this movie, be prepared to see things your heart won't like. Bad things. Well, I actually only have one bad thing to say about this film, and that's just, well, the ending. Don't get me wrong, the ending is so fucking sad that I was using my cats for Kleenex while watching it. But I just feel like only half the story was told. I get that if they kept going, it may have diminished the emotional impact the stories and characters had, but I honestly didn't even realize that an hour and 29 minutes had passed by. I was so invested in everything that was going on, and I wanted to see more of Seita's life up until his, well, his walk with the Fireflies. I know most people wouldn't think that's a problem, but I personally just felt like there was just one tiny piece missing from an otherwise perfect puzzle of pain. Hotaru no Haka is a near-perfect piece of depression-inducing cinema, and if you haven't seen it yet, I most definitely urge you to watch. Be warned, however, that you in the first 5 rows will get wet. With tears. Because you'll be crying. Yeah. I give Hotaru no Haka 4.5 eyes out of 5, which means it's so close to being perfect, but if it weren't for just the slightly unsatisfying ending, it'd be perfect, man! So, Hotaru no Haka. Is it watchable? Just holy fuck, nuggets and piss, it is absolutely watchable. But don't say I didn't warn you about how fucking depressing it is. Is it enjoyable? Wow, holy goddamn shit it is. I mean that feels a bit weird saying that considering the movie's subject matter, but I would have to say yes, it is extremely enjoyable. Is it memorable? Well, this is one of those movies, a piece of animation that you just feel you can't forget. Like, it feels wrong to forget it. It's like the lessons that war teaches us, is that You can't move forward in life if you forget the lessons of the past, because tragedy only repeats itself if you forget what that tragedy from the past has to teach you. That's too depressing to end on. Actually, let's end on something. Let's end on something on a little lighter note. Have another person jumping out a window. That's good.
Dr. Lindstein regret nothing!
Yeah, that's better. Hey guys, thanks a bunch for watching my newest review, Hotaru no Haka. I hope you liked it. I mean, it's a pretty depressing movie, but if you haven't seen it already, you should give it a watch. If you want to see more of my videos, you can click the annotations in the video playing right now, or if you want to check out my various social media platforms, you can see in the description there. I have a link to my Facebook page, my Twitch channel, my Twitter page, things like that. So if you want to support me and my channel, you can give them a like, a follow, a share, things like that. Plus, also, I would really appreciate subscribing to my channel if you could, because it's always a good confidence booster, and also you'll get to see the new videos uploaded every single Friday to my channel. Alright? Thanks. As always, if you have an idea for an animated series or movie you want me to comment on, you can... Jesus, I don't know. You can leave me a comment anywhere on any of my social media platforms or YouTube. You can... Shit, I don't have a funny thing for this time, but basically you can just send me your suggestions in any way you please, and I will consider every single suggestion I get. I am compiling a list here, so it's not like they're just going in the garbage. Alright? Well, thanks again for watching, everybody, and I'll see you next time.